Hey, we're back to discuss Isle of Dogs, and if you watched our review, we both enjoyed it. We had not so much fun with the audience behind us, but the movie was great overall. I liked that it had, sort of the five acts that it delineates out. The way that the other, you were kind of talking about a little bit in the review, how it doesn't feel like a bunch of people just kind of talking and being quirky and goofy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another plus of him doing stop motion animation as opposed to a live action movie, where he can get big talent to read 3 or 4 lines that are really great in the script and not have Bill Murray wasting time on set, right?
Yeah.
So if you're having Bill Murray live in a movie, you need Bill Murray to say more things.
Right.
But if he's just one of these dogs, you can have him say the 6 lines that you need the Bill Murray dog to say.
Yeah.
And it doesn't detract from anything. It actually adds to the film. It makes the film better because every line of dialogue's either important or it's specifically there for comedy.
Right. Yeah. And Bill Murray, it took me a while to figure out which dog he was.
Yeah.
In fact, that was true for all of the characters. I had to stop and be like, whose voice is that? And even then, they have a lot of big names in this movie, but my only complaint is that a lot of them serve very, very small roles. Like, they showed up, they contributed to the film, and then they were done, We'd see them occasionally, but it was like, they weren't just there like a lot of Wes Anderson's films where the characters are literally just a backdrop to the absurdity going on.
Yeah.
In this, it's like, all right, you serve your role and you're gone, and then the plot moves along at a pretty brisk pace.
Yeah, so that's true for like the Harvey Keitel character. Like, he's only
Which one was he?
He was the completely screwed up dog when they got to the when they unlocked
that was
Spots.
Oh, the Cannibal Dogs. The leader of the Cannibal Dogs. Okay.
Like half a face.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah, okay.
That was him. So like that would be a cameo in a live action movie. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about where you've got Jeff Goldblum, Bill Murray, Bob Balaban. Like, their characters are on screen a lot.
Yeah.
Not talking.
Mm-hmm.
They only talk when it's absolutely necessary or when it makes sense for that character to talk.
True.
Whereas if this were a live action thing and those men were actually on screen, they couldn't get away with that. They couldn't get away with Bob Balaban and Bill Murray and Jeff Goldblum just kind of standing around waiting for Bryan Cranston to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
So, and I would say Bryan Cranston's probably the central dog character of the movie.
Yeah, he was.
And since the only human that speaks English natively, everything else is translated by Frances McDormand's newscaster carrier. He's really kind of the central figure of the movie.
Yeah.
There is the kid Atari, but he speaks in Japanese, and until they actually get to Spots, they can't understand him.
Right. Yeah. Oh, what was I going to add to that? Shoot. Go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
But yeah, I mean, this is... I don't think he's done anything since The Grand Budapest Hotel, which I really liked. And I think that's going to be a really hard movie to beat in a live-action setting.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I think, was the right move for him, even if it took a little bit longer, because he does have so much control over everything you see, everything you hear. It's all exactly the director's vision and not...
Yeah.
There's nothing that he cannot do that he wants to do with...
Right. Although I did think it was a little bit of a cheat that they use a lot of cartoon animation in this one.
Well, it's interesting because they use it for different kinds of media. So if it was an actual shot of something happening, it was stop motion. Then if you looked at the same thing on a television screen, it was 2D animation.
Right, yeah. But they did it a lot. I don't know. It got to be a little jarring for me, but, I mean, it's not really that big a deal. But, for a movie, you know, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, they didn't do any of that. It was pure stop motion animation, and that was great. This one, they're doing such a good job with the stop motion animation. It was like, well, why did they have to resort to using all the cartoons?
I just felt like it added something to it because it's not like there was suddenly a 10-minute section of two-dimensional animation.
Yeah.
It was on television screens inside the 3D world.
Yeah.
And so in the 3D world, a 2D television screen, it makes sense for it to be 2D. I also really liked the way that they had sort of the stories on murals that would happen from time to time. Like they would explain something, and like Jupiter would show up and like talk in front of this giant graffiti mural or whatever, and explain everything that's going on. I thought that stuff was all great.
Yeah, I love the subtitles next to any time they show Japanese text anywhere. It would show the text for a second, and then gives them little simple explanation as to what it is, and it actually became a running gag in the film.
Yeah.
It shows his tooth, and it's got Japanese writing. It's like military grade, and so there's that deadpan, absurd Wes Anderson style. So yeah, that's definitely here full force, but to good effect.
What was the one with where Ed Norton's like the scout leader?
Moonrise Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. This kind of reminded me of a tighter, more complete version of that.
Yeah, the plots were similar because it was about people stranded on an island trying to get away from, a crazy militaristic group, and how they came back and all that.
Not that it's exactly the same. It's just like I got that same vibe, but I like this better than Moonrise Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think it comes down to like the foibles and flaws of using people in movies.
Yeah.
For this director, like he gets what he wants when he gets what he wants when he directs people, but he is so much better at getting what he wants when he's just animating and
because like you said, like if you see Bill Murray's face up there, it's going to be like, all right, well, we're watching Bill Murray. We're not watching a Wes Anderson movie. Right. But here, since they're all unrecognizable, they're just clay, puppets.
Puppets.
It's just, you can't help but just take the character for what it is.
Yeah. And
you just lose yourself in the movie, and that's great. I love it. That's what happened with Fantastic Mr. Fox, and it happened here, and it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, definitely. And the stuff I was talking about with the violence and stuff like that, like, I mean, the more I think about it, like, my kids would have been fine with that. They would have, like, been a little bit, grossed out by it maybe, but not to the extent that, like, the 60-year-old adults that sat behind us, like, couldn't get over the fact that, someone was preparing sushi by cutting a fish's head off, and the head kept moving while they continued to make the sushi. It's like, well, come on, man. Like,
I'm sure your movie-going experience will be much better than ours was.
my dad famously walked out when it was in the theaters. My dad walked out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail during the Black Knight scene because it was too violent for him to handle.
What? Oh my God.
So, different strokes.
If you can handle that, you can handle anything in this movie.
It's true. So, yeah.
It's just harder because it's dogs. And a fish.
That's it for I Love Dogs. If you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at DaleMaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.